The Women's College acknowledges the traditional owners of the land on which we are recording this podcast, the Turrbal and Jagera people of the Meanjin region. We pay our respect to their elders past and present and recognise that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are Australia's first storytellers, communities and creators of culture. We recognise their continuing connection to the land and the waters. Welcome to Voices of Influence, a podcast brought to you by the Women's College within the University of Queensland. I'm your host and producer, Tess Feller. Our episodes are designed to ignite inspiration and empower young adults. Tune in for engaging discussions with diverse professionals who share actionable insights to navigate early adulthood. Today, on our fourth episode, and first for the second semester, we have Ella Cooper. Ella is an exercise physiologist working for New South Wales Health. She grew up and went to school in Toowoomba and came to Brisbane, the Big Smoke, in 2018 to study exercise science at UQ. Ella was our Women's College Student Club president in 2020 and then went on to be conference director for NORC in 2021. Today, we are discussing all things navigating your 20s. Welcome, Ella.
Thanks for having me, Tess.
Very excited. We're back on your home turf.
Yes, as I was saying earlier, I couldn't find Central Library, so that's great.
Yes, we're trying out a new recording studio, so we'll see how it goes. Hopefully no one comes and says they've booked this room. Before we delve into the nitty-gritty, I'd like to ask for a recommendation for our listeners. Is there something you've been reading, watching or listening to that you think listeners would enjoy?
Yeah, absolutely. This might be like an old recommendation, but it's the TV series Ted Lasso on Apple TV. I absolutely love it and the metaphors about life that it presents, and I think it's like my go-to show whenever I'm feeling a bit low. I watch an episode of Ted and it just makes me feeling joyful again. So that would be my recommendation for everyone.
I love that one. It's a beautiful show. It gets you in. It's a feel good, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So I second that recommendation. So I'd love to know if you could tell us a bit about where life has led you. We know you're at Women's for 3 years, in your third year being president, through the worst of COVID in Brisbane. Now you live in Sydney. You're an exercise physiologist. Bring us along on your journey.
Yeah. So I left Women's at the end of 2020 and I moved into a share house in Brisbane with some of my best friends from college. And we did 2 years in a share house, and then I graduated university and was ready to apply to jobs in the big wide world and kind of was ready to spread my wings. And so I applied for jobs basically everywhere in Australia, and I ended up getting an interview and flying down to Sydney, interviewed the next day. I got a call, you've got the job. So then I very quickly had to kind of pack up my life and move to Sydney. And now I've been there for almost 2 years, and I absolutely love it. It was a hard decision, but the best decision. I live in a beautiful area. I'm very lucky to be where I live. It just brings me so much joy. I'm surrounded by the harbour and parks and dogs and cafes and baristas that know my name, and it's just the dream. And then I work for New South Wales Health, and that's a very rewarding job. And I work on a geriatric ward, so the average age of my patients is 81. So they're very old and very cute and love listening and sharing stories, so I get a lot of joy from what I do. And I'm currently actually studying again. I'm doing my Masters of Public Health.
Wow.
Which has been funded through New South Wales Health, which is very nice. So yeah, I'm very busy, I suppose, with work and study and then just exercise and hobbies and catching up with friends and travel. But yeah, life has been pretty good post-college, which is really nice.
Oh, that sounds lovely. And where are you hoping to go with your Masters of Public Health? That's really exciting.
It is exciting. I think eventually I want to kind of go more into like leadership roles in terms of looking at leaderships of hospitals and teams within hospitals and kind of that health policy directive and roles. So a fun fact I'll share with everyone. So the Chief Allied Health Officer of Australia, which is the highest allied health officer role in Australia, is currently just been filled by a woman. and she was an exercise physiologist.
Oh,
so I'm kind of like, that's a goal, definitely.
So next one in line is Ella Cooper once she finishes her degree.
No, so yeah, we'll see. But I think it's definitely good. It's a great opportunity, and I think just taking the opportunities whilst I'm young and seeing where they take me.
Yeah, totally. And did you always think that your exercise sports science physiology was going to lead you to more of a managing health policy driven role, or has that kind of been sparked more recently?
Yeah, I think I always enjoyed leadership and working with people and in teams, and I think like third year at Women's as pres, that really like brought out that passion in me of problem solving and kind of making hard decisions. I really enjoyed that for some reason. So I think then going towards the end of my degree and graduation, I knew I wanted to be a clinician and on the tools, as we say, with patients, but I definitely know that's not like my long-term goal as in this profession. And I think it's always good to have experience, obviously on the ground floor, patient facing, but I think I kind of knew a few years ago probably that I would want to go a bit higher and do a bit more broader policy things, and I think that is where change comes from, is at that policy level. So
and like having experience on the ground, you know, is so beneficial. So I guess then you could kind of say, you know, you seem like a really driven person who wants to make change. Do you think that spark started while at Women's when you were president and in the leadership team there?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've always been very ambitious and kind of I've wanted to take on new opportunities, and I think Women's really presented that in so many different ways, but especially in third year as president. I was nervous going into it, but I was excited for the challenge and leading that team, and that really is the role of the president, is to lead the team. You don't have a portfolio. Your portfolio is managing the rest of your team, and so that's an exciting challenge that I was looking forward to. And I think during that year, obviously it didn't go as planned with COVID, and so there were so many ups and downs and decisions that had to constantly be evaluated and changed, and then the team then had to be managed in different ways. But that kind of, I suppose it was almost like crisis management in a way.
Yeah, totally.
That really kind of sparked a passion in me. I was like, I enjoy this, and I wasn't good at it then, and I'm still not great at it, but I know it's something that I can develop with time and experience, and it's something that I want to develop.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely that third year of Women's really kind of sparked in me, hey, I like this thing and I want to try and keep going.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I guess you could kind of say that almost says that you don't need to know what you want to do while you're studying it. You know, there's probably listeners out there who are like, oh my gosh, I'm studying something and I want to do something else, but this feels right to me at the moment. I guess, you know, your evidence that you can develop passion along the way almost, would you say?
100%. And I think it's almost silly in a way to think of like, where do you want to be in 5 years, especially when you're in your 20s, because there's so much change that's going to happen that you don't even know about. But also that the job you might have in 5 years probably doesn't even exist right now, or you don't even know about it, because there's so many things that are just constantly changing. So I think it's totally okay to not know what you want to do and to change and kind of take on an opportunity and see where that opportunity leads and goes to next. And at the same time, it's like, okay, what are your skills? What are you passionate about? How can you link that into your career then and kind of meld those two fields together? And then you kind of can start to map out a path for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like that, because it's almost not like what is the end goal. It's like, what do you enjoy and what are you good at? And then let's create something for that. Because you're right. Like, you can probably, like, anyone can create their own destiny, their own job. So, yes, exactly. Loving that. And then you've mentioned a lot about your leadership at Women's in your third year, but how would you say overall your time at Women's almost shaped you to who you are today?
Yeah, definitely. I think coming to Women's, especially from Toowoomba, like a small town, in year 12, everyone feels like the big fish. Like, you feel like you're a big dog. And then coming to Women's, I was so excited for it. I was so ready for it. As soon as I found out what college was, I was like, I'm going there and I'm going to this one. So it was so exciting to finally get to women's, but it was a shock and it was a change. And I was also 17 for most of first year, and that was really hard, just socially trying to make friends and branch out when I couldn't go to everything. So first year, I mean, was so much fun, and but there were their own struggles, and I suppose at that same time during first year, you're trying to figure out uni and how to study when you're living with your best friends, and that's all really hard. I'm an only child, so coming into college was like really overwhelming to share a bathroom with other people.
Very overstimulating, yeah.
So I think first year, it's so much fun, but it's about like kind of, you're in a whirlwind the whole time, and then second year, you've got your friends and you know how to do college, you know how to do uni, so you feel really like you've got the power almost, and you just have a really good year. And I loved second year, and it was that point in second year where I was like, I'm not done yet and I want to give back. And so that's kind of what prompted me to like go for pres, and I wanted a leadership position and I wanted to contribute, and I think then overall, from my 3 years at Women's, I think what it's taught me most is how to just manage and deal with people in good and bad ways. And because that is such an important part of life, you're always dealing with people. And I think it's just taught me how to set boundaries, what type of people and things feed my energy and what takes it away. And then it's also given me the confidence in myself. Coming into college, I was quite shy and probably more introverted, and I still am introverted, but definitely it just gave me the confidence in myself to take things on. And I think without Women's, I don't know if I would have had the strength and the resilience and determination to like have a crack at moving to Sydney. And now I'm thriving in Sydney, so I'm like, this is the best decision ever. But I think if I hadn't have kind of taken all the steps along the way, my life right now wouldn't be my life.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm extremely grateful for my time at Women's, and that's not to say there weren't highs and lows. There absolutely were. But ultimately, it gave me my life now.
Yeah, I really love that. And I think, like, even myself coming to nearly, like, so sad to say, nearly the end of my third year, I think it's not about, like, looking back and being like, it's like looking back at the memories, but it's also like, oh my goodness, I was not the same person that I was when I came to college. I came to college from Melbourne.
Yeah.
So, you know, same as you, moving. And I think that once you take a step for yourself, and I think like coming to Women's is a step in everyone's lives, you know what I mean? It's like you're saying, okay, I want to put myself out there and I want to meet like-minded people and I'm ready to give this thing a crack. I think everyone's taking a step towards their own future, right? And like every moment you're spending there is a learning experience. Like there are highs and lows, definitely, but looking back and like you looking back as well, it's like you're like, oh wow, like these were learnings. Like who I am today, like it's just, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to think about, you know?
And especially like you realize little bits at the time, but the more like time that is between with like college and then now, and as I'm sure as I get older, I'll continue to look back and go, wow, I can do that now because this happened at college, or I'm not doing that because I learned at college not to do that, like that type of thing. Yeah. And also like, as you said, the like-minded people, the people you surround yourself with. I think everyone's going to college for a reason, and when you're surrounded by that energy, it is infectious. You are a product of your environment, and I think Women's was such a great environment for those pivotal years, I suppose, of growth to really... You're in a safe place to figure out who you are.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think that, you know, your 20s is such an unprecedented time. You're like, what am I doing? Do I like my degree at uni? Who do I want to be? What are my values? Like, what am I good at, what are my skills, etc. And I think to have a place where you can figure that out with other people who are also figuring it out, you know, it's a messy road, but you're in it, it's a messy road together, you know. And even if you feel like you don't find your people in O Week, right, like there's so many opportunities for that growth. And you know, you don't discount it until like you're reflecting on it. Almost
exactly. And like so many of my friends now, I only really met or bonded with properly in third year when we were like in leadership positions together. And like one of my current roommates is Susie, who was vice president when I was president, and now we're living together in Sydney. And we always joke about it, like we obviously, like, we weren't that close at college, but third year we obviously got closer. But we had very much different friend groups, and now, like, I see her every day. I cannot imagine my life without her. She is my rock. Like, we just reflect on, oh my God, like, women's brought us together, and then we brought ourselves to Sydney, and then now we're still, like, navigating life together, and we're just so grateful for each other. And had we not gone to women's, again, I don't know how life would have looked.
I know. It's like, it's the people you meet along the way, and like sometimes even when you're in it, you don't realise how much of an impact people are having on you. But you step back and you're like, oh wow. So you've even like brought a little piece of women's to Sydney with you, your own little women's there.
Yeah, and that was very like random. It was, I knew, like, she has family in Sydney. I already knew that, so I knew that she had moved to Sydney, and then I got the job and was kind of like, what am I going to do? So I just messaged her, and then 2 years later we're still living together. We're like, we literally are attached at the hip. We do everything together. It's great.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah, good home.
Yeah, well, that was actually, I wanted to ask you how you think the concept of home has changed for you through the stages of your life, you know, from Toowoomba to women's to now Sydney.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question. I think home is definitely the people around you, not necessarily the place. Obviously, places are always going to have an important role in your life. And it is weird, like when I go back to Toowoomba, it doesn't feel like home anymore. It's mum and dad's house. And mum and dad are there, but it's not my home. Sydney is my home now. And I felt the same, like, coming back to women's the year after. You're like, whoa, I've spent 3 years here, but why does it feel so different? And I think it's because the people are different. The place is the same, and those memories will always be there, and I'll always love the places. But it's the people who are with you along the way make home. And especially, I think, being scattered. I'm away from my family. I'm away from a lot of my close friends. So I really have to, like, create my little home in me and my little routine and things that I like to do that make me feel happy and grounded, and then I can reach out to my family and friends and feel home that way and FaceTime my dogs and do all of that.
Yeah. So I guess, like, kind of almost what you're saying is, like, there's two aspects of home, you know. There's the people you surround yourself with and the community you create, whether that be, like, exactly where you are. Like, for example, in Sydney, you're meeting those people and that's your community, but also your family are still in Toowoomba and your friends are in Brisbane and your friends are in Adelaide and Rockhampton and, you know, all London, all over the world. But then there's also that aspect of your home is you making yourself feel happy and you filling your cup. Yeah.
There's this quote that I really love, and I think whenever I get a bit anxious or nervous about something coming up, I'm always like, be where your feet are. And I think that's really, like, home is everywhere, but it's also right where you are right now. So I really like, be where your feet are.
Yeah, I like that. And it also reminds us, like, to stay grounded, you know, especially in the college life. And, you know, I'm sure even after college, when you're so busy, you are, like, things are moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you're in 79 different places at once. And, like, with, like, you have relationships with 100 different people and they're all close friends to you. I think, you know, saying, keep your feet on, like, your feet on the ground is also saying to yourself, like, stay in the moment, you know. And that also comes back to what we were saying about, you know, you don't know where you're going to be in 5 years, the 5-year plan, etc. Like, living in the moment, I think, is a really hard thing to do, but I like that we can now, like, combine it with the concept of, like, you're creating your own home and life by staying in the moment.
Yeah, and I think especially at college, it's so hard. Things are happening so often. Like, it is really hard to appreciate the moments. And that would be my advice to you going into the final few months of college, is really appreciate the end.
Yeah. Totally. And then what was it like managing, like, moving away from your communities? You've had 2 big moves, you know, and I don't think we should discount how tricky that first move, actually moving to college, whether you live 10 minutes away or you live on the other side of the world, like moving and taking that step for yourself, like we were saying before. You're starting uni, you're creating a new life, you need to, like, find a new community, etc. Like, it's pretty tricky. How would you say you've managed to do that twice?
Yeah, I think especially like the first move to uni, that is such a big period of change. You're going through so many changes, and it's so overwhelming. So I think that was really hard, and I'm very lucky that I was close to home, 2 hours away. If I needed to be there, I could get there. But it was hard, and I was lucky that I also had one of my best friends from school came to college with me, so that was good to kind of just have someone that I could stick with, and then we could go navigate it together. I think as well, though, like, coming to college, everyone is in that same boat, which we spoke about. Everyone's feeling that same trepidation about what's to come. And so I think it's almost at the start, you have to just lean into that feeling of the unknown, and lots is going on, but I'm just going to kind of hang on and enjoy the ride. I think that's kind of what I did for the first few months of college and uni. I really had no idea what was going on, but I was just kind of taking it all in and going with the flow and just having the ups and the downs. And then obviously you settle in, and I think then going again to Sydney, both times I feel like I've made the big moves. I've just been so excited for it. So I haven't really worried, because I'm like, it'll just work out, and if it doesn't, I'll just reverse. I'll just come back. It's fine. Like, you can always come back. I think even if you move to the other side of the world, you can always come back. So yeah, going to Sydney, I was just excited for the next chapter and the next adventure. I was ready. And I think that was almost the same at college. I was ready to go to college. And I think as well, it's like getting comfortable in your surroundings, coming up with your little routines that, bring you joy and calm, especially like if you're starting uni. Okay, how can you make your college world a little bit calmer? Do you you can't light a candle in your room. Can you do a face mask on a Sunday night to just get ready for uni the next week? Or do you have pizza with the girls in the common room? And then, like, for me moving to Sydney, it was like, okay, I'm going to find my coffee shop, I'm going to find my running route. And that type of things then made me less nervous about starting a new job. Yeah, I really like that. Like, finding your, like, hobbies and the things you enjoy, what fills your cup wherever you are, and creating your own full cup, which how would you say how do you fill your cup and maintain, you seem very well balanced, how do you maintain this sense of balance? You know, it's really hard at college. How did you do it at college and now in the wider world, as you could say? I definitely think it's important to acknowledge how hard it is to do at college, and if I'm honest, I probably didn't balance as well as I am now, because college is there's so much going on, and uni is so intense as well. For me, and that's probably with like my background as well, like exercise is a big part of how I balance everything and fill my cup. It's like my form of mindfulness is like going for a run or doing Pilates. So I really try and prioritize exercise when I can into my day. But at that same time, I'm also prioritize listening to my body and going, if I need a rest, just have a rest. So exercise is a big one for me. I think as well, this at college, and now I did this, I'm very much the state of your room is a reflection of the state of your mind. Yes, love that. So my room at college, I was so proud of it. It was top notch. I actually, in second year, I lived in Cup, and like coming down the glass hallway, you could like stare directly into my room. And so I always made sure it was perfect because everyone was always looking into it. And then my pres room, like everyone was always in there, so it always had to look nice and perfect.
Yes, perfect.
So yeah, a clean room is a big one. Just declutter your mind. If your room is clean, then you can focus on what's going on in your head. I think as well, like taking time to like recharge with friends and family, either if that's a phone call or going for a walk or getting a coffee or a drink or something, seeing them. But also I think it's really hard to do in college, and I think people don't do it enough just in general, is just spending time with yourself. I think that's such an important skill, and something that I've definitely mastered in the past few years is being so comfortable to just spend a Saturday by myself and take myself to breakfast and do that type of thing. And when you can be like comfortable with your thoughts, then you're going to be so much better for everyone else. So yeah, it was a long-winded answer there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with everything you said. And in college, like it's important not to be harsh on yourself and be like, oh my gosh, there's no balance in my life, because there's always like if you look for it, there's always going to be a little bit of balance, and sometimes you just need to prioritize different things a little bit more. And like it's okay to not prioritize them and then realize that you need to. Yeah,
it's like a seesaw almost. Like you can prioritize some things and then bring them back down, and it does work like that. And I think one of my favorite things at college for like, I suppose, winding down was just the amount of times that you'd just end up like in a common room or in the dining hall for hours talking to people, and you know you have other things to do, but that is also like spending time with people who fill your cup is also a priority. So that's something I definitely miss now. I don't have that as much.
Yeah. I really liked what you said about taking time for like to be with yourself, because I think that's then how, you know, people might be listening and being like, I have no idea how to fill my cup. Like I feel overstimulated, like I'm busy all the time, blah, blah, blah. I think like, yeah, just taking a little bit of time to yourself, whether that's a walk or even, just like being in your room by yourself or whatever, that can be a form of discovering.
I think as well, like I would challenge people, if you feel like really overstimulated and quite overwhelmed, try and go for even just like a 15-minute walk out the back of Women's. I've did it many times, without your phone. Just completely switch off and just appreciate what's, like that's a form of mindfulness. Appreciate the birds and the trees and the river, like 15 minutes, and it'll just help ground you, and then you'll be better in all your other interactions for the day. Yeah,
totally. Switch off to switch back on. Yes, I like that. I really like that. And then what would you say your role of friendships have played in shaping your wonderful journey? Not just during college, but prior, now.
Yeah, I think friendship is really important to me as an only child. And I think your school friendships, you know which ones you'll have forever, but then you also I think post school you learn what friendship by convenience means, and so then college, I think you're surrounded by so many like-minded people, and there's so many people, it's like how can I be close friends with everyone, and you can't. But that time with everyone, and the people that you don't, you're like, I wouldn't normally spend time with you, but I've just spent an hour with you and that was really nice. So that's a great form of friendship, I think. And then you leave college and you've got all the share houses and all like moving and all of that type of thing. And you're reminded of who your close friends are, and you stick with them. And I think then as everyone starts to move off into the world, like I'm experiencing it now, I come back to Brisbane and there's less and less people here. We're all scattered everywhere. But it just makes friendship, it's harder now than it was in college, but it just makes it so much more rewarding, and it really is that quality over quantity. Like I know who my close friends are, and I have to really make an effort to see them or to call them, or to fly across the world and visit them, but you do it and it just means so much to spend an hour or two with them. Maybe I only get to do that once or twice a year now, but that means the world to me. So it definitely is harder, and I think that's natural as you get older. Friendships become harder to maintain, but I think post-college, you kind of, as you navigate that transition and the change, you definitely find out who your close friends are. And I know, like, the friends that I'm going to have probably for the rest of my life, and I'm so grateful for college for giving me that environment to make those friends. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. And, yeah, sometimes it's overwhelming in college because you want to be everything to everyone. And, yeah, you can't. But that doesn't mean that you're still not a good friend, you know? Yeah, so, yeah, I think, you know, sometimes friendship is hard work, but hard work makes for a meaningful friendship.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, totally. And did you, I mean, it was hard because you were during, like, 2020 when you were in your third year, it was COVID, and, you know, that changes things a little bit differently. But your experience of girlhood, as you say, what has that been for you?
Yeah, I think women's is so special in that atmosphere that's created, and it's so hard to describe. Everyone says it's so hard to describe being a woozer, and it really is, because it's that feeling. But I think the girlhood is just, I think it stemmed from women's, and I think I've carried it through with me in my jobs and in my life, that it's kind of like as I got out into the big world.
The real world.
Yeah, the real world. And I kind of have been an experience post-college where I'm kind of like, this is a boys' club, and I don't like how I'm being treated right now. And because I came from an all-girls high school and an all-girls college, I'm very much a feminist. And so because of those environments where I've been surrounded by strong, independent, powerful women, I feel totally fine and confident calling out anyone who doesn't appreciate the value of women. And I think that is girlhood to an extreme, of being able, that just feeling of, hey, we're awesome and we're awesome together. And I think that's something that women's is really championing, is that, like, we're stronger together and girls supporting girls. And I love, like, obviously sport and just the Olympics that have just happened, and that is an extension of girlhood in a much larger scale of just the girls getting it done and doing so well. And I think you can feel that energy in the world at the moment, I hope. But I think the feeling that women's created, I've definitely carried that with me in a lot of my interactions with people, and I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And there's never too many people to champion women in the world, and us creating a community every single year of people who are going out into the big wide world championing women, like, that's all you can really ask for, right? That girls support girls, and we create a culture that puts people in the world that feels like they can call out stuff, and they feel comfortable being a woman and a feminist. And yeah I think that's really beautiful. And I agree, like, the world does feel alive at the moment with the Olympics and stuff. So yeah, I hope that continues, and even in people's smaller lives, that they carry through that as well. Yeah. And then I guess if you could give yourself, your younger self, advice about love and friendship, life in general. We're getting very Dolly Alderton, everything I know about love.
Dolly.
Yes, we all love that book. Life in general, what would you like to say to yourself?
Yeah.
Or pieces of advice.
Pieces of advice. I think just for me, especially in kind of like my personality and my perfectionism, I think I would say just don't take things too seriously. Everything works out how it's supposed to, and it's so like airy fairy to say everything happens for a reason, but it actually does. And it's kind of crazy. And the annoying part is you don't know the reasons when they're happening, when you fail a test, or when something doesn't go your way, or you have a fight and you're like, oh, I don't want this to happen, but then down the track something changes and you're like, oh, that's why that happened, for this to be able to happen. And it's still something that I'm getting my head around, but every time something does kind of knock me down, I'm starting to accept that, hey, that's okay, because something is going to something's going to come and I've just got to stick out and do my best and keep going. I think, that would probably be my general life advice.
Yeah. One door closes, another opens.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think just not to be scared to take opportunities. Just if an opportunity presents itself, what have you got to lose? Just have a crack. There's a saying, never have a crack at someone having a crack. Like if someone's having a go, just don't pull them down. Just let them have a go. So I think, just giving everything a go and trying. I think especially women, I think we're really scared to fail. And I hate that. I think we just need to try and fail and learn and try again. I think that's really important and something that does take a bit to get your head around. Like, I'm going to try something, I'm probably going to make a mistake. I especially don't like playing sport if I'm not good at the sport. But I recently signed up for AFL and I don't play AFL. So that's something that I'm trying to...
There you go, you're overcoming your own fear.
You don't have to be good at everything. And I suppose for like love to my younger self, I think... you've got to be able to, it's so cliche, but you have to be able to love yourself. And in doing that, it just creates your relationships with everyone around you. They become so much better because you can give so much more to other people because you've given it to yourself first. I think that's really important. Yeah. And I think, like appreciating your friends. I think sometimes we can get a bit like caught up in, like romantic partners, and they're amazing and they're great, but like always remember your friends who were there with you and don't ever kind of put them on the back burner. Keep them close to you because they'll probably be close to you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and they're there. Friends are the best. They're there when times are tough, when times are good. Romance is exciting and it's sparkly and it's new. But, I really like that. Like, just, like, remember what you prioritize when maybe you don't have a, like, romantic relationship, sort of thing. Yeah, I really like that. And who would you say is the most influential woman in your life and why?
Yeah, this is a hard question. And it's hard because I think there's so many people I could say because I've been so fortunate to be surrounded by so many strong, independent women. But I think if I were to like give a specific answer, I would probably say my mum and my grandma. And both of them are very different, but they have just always believed in me and encouraged me to just try my best. And I think they have different, as I said, they're different. My grandmother was the most determined person I ever met, and every time I'm going through something hard, I just think of her and she gets me through it. And then my mum is I don't even know how to describe my mum, but she just has shown me what hard work and love looks like, and that's really important to me. And I just hope that one day I can be half the women that they both are and were.
It should always be a priority because you're going to get the most out of your other relationships in life by having a strong relationship with yourself.
100%.
Yeah. And I have loved this chat. I think,
thanks,
we've covered a lot, but I hope that listeners kind of reflect and know that like 20s are hard, they're messy, you never know what is going to happen tomorrow, let alone in a week, let alone 5 years.
Yeah.
So, ride the wave. It's like you learn to surf to ride the wave or something. Like, I'm getting like something along those lines. I can't remember it exactly. But, learn to surf, ride the wave of life because it's messy, but
enjoyable, hopefully.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, and you get something from it.
Yeah, you'll get something from everything without whether you realise it at the time or not.
100%.
Yeah, perfect. Alrighty, well, thank you.
Thanks for having me, Tess.